usually looking to mate or looking for their own territory, as they've discussed earlier. But we never knew what their intentions were. So when these big males came through, we would usually find her, she'd take the kittens and clear out. So here's one of Mama Mo heading out for a morning hunt. Excuse me, coming in after a hunt. This is morning. These are her tracks right here. So she'll come up, smell her tracks. She's headed back to daybed. I'll set this next clip up a little bit before I play it. So one thing we found following Mama Mo is she was making her living in and around houses. It's a safe spot for her. The deer come in there. They're a little less nervy when they're in close, when they're close to houses. They don't have their guard up that they might have in the back country. So Mama Mo is actually using houses and using this corridor of homes to hunt and make her kills and drag them back up under junipers. Well, us being filmmakers, we wanted to film this. But it's an awkward situation when you walk up to someone's front door and knock, and they come to the door and you introduce yourself and say, hey, there's the mountain lion living here. She's probably been here for years. She made a kill underneath your bedroom window last night and drug it about 100 feet up under a juniper, and we'd like to film it. So as you can imagine, that met with mixed reviews. Most people were pretty excited, albeit understandably a little nervous, to have a mountain lion working the graveyard shift around their house. But once we started talking to them, they understood that this was always cat country, and as long as there's mountain lions, this will always be mountain lion country. And so most of the people were actually pretty excited. We had one lady who said, do you mean she's eating the deer that keep eating my garden? And we said, yes. She said, well, long live Mama Mo then, because she had an uphill battle. Occasionally we'd run into some people who we'd tell them, hey, there's a mountain lion in your backyard. We'd like to go back and set up some cameras and maybe film. Their first reaction was fear and terror. They wanted the cat out of there. They wanted to hire dogs. They wanted to hire whatever they needed to do, call the state and local authorities, come in and kill this cat. So what we tried to explain to them is this is mountain lion country, and it always will be mountain lion country. And you didn't even know that she's been here until we told you that she's working these late shifts around your house. So she hasn't been a threat to you. She hasn't been a threat to your dogs or your kids. You didn't even know she was here. But here's what happens if we take her out. This is always going to be cat country, and what you've done is created a vacuum. And another cat will most definitely move into this area, and it may not be as nice as she is and go about her business without bothering anyone. So sometimes you create a bigger problem trying to remove it. So in this next clip, we found a kill. We set up, you can see the yellow extension cord in the bottom running to a tree. So this is close enough to a house that we can run power. We didn't expect her to be back. So here's a clip of her as we come back to one of the kills. As you can see, she's hiding in there. She usually tried to get out before it got light out, but we were there right when it first got light. But we've got cameras run, we've got an extension cord run, we've got lights. As long as we're not around her, it wasn't bothering her too much. But I just wanted to show you the power cord in there and how close we are actually to houses when we're filming this. So here's a screenshot of her feeding. I was actually sitting in a hide when we took this. The red light is the IR light we use at night. So we put an IR filter on our camera and then hit it with IR light. And I'm sitting probably 50 feet away from her in this clip filming. When she first walked up, I thought I'd done such a great job hiding that she would never know I'm there. And then she gives you this look. So I'm doing my nice slow pan in, thinking she has no clue that I'm there, and she looks right at me. So she knew I was there. When I'd spoken to you earlier about the camera truck, I wanted to show you a little clip of kind of how this works. We could sit in there in private during the middle of the day, and we could film it. So this just shows you kind of how close we actually were. So this is just a couple hundred yards in front of the truck, daylight, filming this cat. So we had a monitor in here and a camera operator. you could really see how we're able to really just eavesdrop on these cats. They had no idea that we were there. So we followed Mama Mo for 4 years through her kittens. It culminated in a 1-hour special on the Smithsonian Channel. And like I said, I learned as much about myself as I did about mountain lions during then. They're so elusive and people don't see them, and they read stories and they hear these things. And I'm here to tell you, I've watched them for hundreds of hours and they want nothing to do with people. They're there for food. But after this film finished, it didn't stop my cat fever. So I went everywhere I could. Every time there was a report of a lion somewhere, I would set up cameras to try to get a look at them. I found toms in all kinds of places. Once again, hiding in caves, which was a great place for these lions to sit. They love to sit in caves, day bed in there. If you stick around long enough, sometimes the kittens will actually come out. So I sat here for, I think, 6 hours one day before this kitten finally walked out and laid down on the rock and let me get a couple images. It was just a matter of me being still and being quiet. Here's a cat. Since I started filming around Gardiner, around my hometown, I was able to get more with find more of these cats that Dan Staler and the Cougar Project's working with. So a lot of the cats I was finding were collared cats, but the same, and letting the cats do their things. And it was amazing to be able to watch them come and go from their kills. So here's, this is, I think Dan talked about this cat earlier. This is 210, the daughter of 209. We hiked in one morning and sat down. She knew I was there. You can see her looking at me. You can see her assessing the situation. She wants to go back to her food, but she's trying to figure out what the heck I am with my camera tucked into a rock at 6 o'clock in the morning. You can see she's weighing it. I feel like she's weighing that, do I come out in the open and go to my food, or just sat there long enough where you can see she finally becomes pretty comfortable with me being there. So she'll step out for her big morning stretch like we all do. Kind of surveys the situation, make sure there's no other scavengers or anybody on it. And she makes her way down to the kill to return to her food. This is also 210. This image up just to show what an amazing job at camouflaging themselves they can do. When this cat walked out, I saw it walk out and I looked down to adjust my settings and I looked back through my viewfinder and I thought, oh, the cat's gone. It scooted out in those few seconds. And then when my eyes adjusted, I realized that it's right there. That's 210, still just standing there looking right at me. So one other thing I found from working with cats around here, around the Gardiner area, is cats are a lot like teenagers. They'll leave from their mom. Every teenager wants independence. They want to go on their own. But if mom's got something good to eat, it might be worth stopping back. So here we have 209. The mom that I'm assuming killed this elk, and there's 210, her collared daughter, and I think she must have had I'm guessing this is a male offspring that was with her. So these cats are kind of out on their own. They're still sharing some of mom's territory, but when mom's got something to eat, they came right back. And this is at a house right in Gardiner. So these cats are doing this at night and then going and day bedding, and most people don't even realize this happens. This was when I was out tracking at one point. I came back and found that a cat had been following me from earlier in the day. A lot of people ask me if that's alarming or if it scares me or anything, and it really doesn't for me, because I know that if I'm looking for mountain lions, I'm in the right spot. And that cat's not stalking me. We're just sharing the same game trails and we're moving in the same direction. So what the tracks led to was another research cat. This is 202. And there's nothing like hiking all day long to go find a cat and then watch it sleep for 5 hours. But she was tired from a rough night, and she was getting to be a little bit older cat at that point. So it was amazing just to watch her rest and enjoy the winter afternoon. She was fully aware that I was there. Obviously, she's looking right at me. But anytime I go into these situations, I try to tuck in and just sit and stay still. And if they don't think you're a threat to them, it's amazing how many times they won't run away. And she's obviously looking pretty comfortable there, getting some sleep. Situation where a mountain lion came into town, they think killed a deer and drug it up in between a few people's houses. And so I got a call to come in and help with the situation about 10 o'clock at night in the pouring rain. So we came in, we drug the deer out in the pouring rain, not really knowing where the cat was, but to get the food source out of there, we cleaned everything up the best we could to give this cat no reason to come back. And I set a trail camera because I wanted to know who we were dealing with, and this is who came back. So I don't know if you can tell from this, but this is a kind of a sub-adult big kitten. You know, I'm guessing maybe 8 months old or something. Probably got separated from mom. As you saw in that earlier video that I showed, a lot of times as they get a little bit bigger, mom makes a kill, they eat, mom takes them away, but there's always somebody left who says, I'm not going with you because the food's right here. So I don't know that that's what happened with this particular cat, but as you can see, this is right in between two people's houses, and it's whatever the situation for a mountain lion. And it's not a good situation for people, even though it is a kitten, and it's obviously more curious than predatory at this point. So I also had a little bit of footage that friend Emil McCain sent from what we think is this family just prior to all of this. Let's see if I can enlarge this. So this is a trail camera on private land, close to Gardiner, close to where this kitten was found. And we think that through some of Emil's work, camera work, that it was one of these kittens, big kittens that got separated from this family and came into town. This is that same kitten on a friend's deck. So as you can see with this tote next to it, this cat is barely larger than the tote. So it's a small cat. My gut was it got separated. We did everything we could. We removed the food source. We blocked off areas. We bleached certain areas. We tried to give it absolutely no reason to stick around and no reason to come back. We did bring in a houndsman. He was able to run the cat a little bit just to kind of get it out of the area, but unfortunately it didn't leave town. And later that day, it was seen once again by someone under a deck, and they called authorities, and a sheriff's deputy was sent down and the cat was dispatched. And it was just such a shame. I felt like several of us, many of us, worked very hard to try to get this cat back to its family, back into the wild. But they're so shrouded in mystery and myth, and people are terrified of these things that they tend to overreact. And unfortunately, this kitten paid the price for that. I wanted to show you this one real quickly. I'll set it up quick. I'd seen some magpies that I thought possibly were alerting to a carcass, which could have been a cat kill, given the area it was. So I walked up to this thing, it's a juniper cedar, and there's a deer leg sticking out. So I grabbed the deer leg and start pulling on it to pull it out from underneath this juniper. It looks like a cat kill. The hair's plucked out, all the classic cat kill signs, but the deer won't come out. So I yank, and it finally pops out. I look at it. Okay, this is definitely a mountain lion kill. It's definitely very fresh, and this cat's probably coming back. So as I'm looking to see which direction maybe this cat would be coming back from, I heard a growl. So if you can see in this, I yanked the deer away from a mountain lion that was eating on it. I had no idea that cat was in there. I was eating on it. That's why the deer didn't come out very well, as we had a bit of a tug of war situation going on. I show you that just so you know that cats are not vicious killers. They don't jump on people. That cat, when I was pulling on that deer, I was probably 6 feet from its face. I had no idea. If it was aggressive, if it wanted to teach me a lesson, it would have done it right then. But all it did is back as far in as it could, give me a little growl, let me know, hey, you're here, you've taken my lunch, you can go ahead and leave now. So this is a image of a mountain lion here close to Gardiner. And this is 209, a cat that Dan Staler had referred to earlier. And this cat has been in and around people with many other cats around here. So much of this, what they do, goes on at night. Cats do a really good job to hide their kills. They don't want anything getting to it. They're very efficient, and they like to do their work and get out. So the thing that I really wanted to bring home was coexistence, that we live in a wild place, and it's very powerful. And with great power comes great responsibility. And it's our duty to keep our yards cleaned up. If there's winter kill in your backyard, clean it up. I know it's gross. If you need help, call Dr. Halfpenny. We can get those things cleaned up. There was some speculation for years whether cats scavenge. I can tell you 100% cats will scavenge, especially when they're hungry. Hunger is hunger. So it's our responsibility to work together to coexist and to cohabitate with these cats. It's a beautiful thing that we're so fortunate to live with. And if you see a mountain lion, it's not cause for panic, even if it's out your back window. Consider yourself lucky. Most people won't ever see one. And if you see it again, look around to see if there's a reason it's there. Like I said, these cats are passing through. They may stay somewhere for a day or an evening to rest, but if there's no food, there's typically no cat. So that's where we can come in and work together. So the only other couple things that I wanted to share was the only time you could really need to have cause for alarm is if you hear this out your back window. So if you hear that and see this out your back window in the greater Yellowstone ecosystem, there might be cause for alarm, and you should definitely get a hold of Dr. Halfpenny and Dr. Staler. But anything short of an African lion in your backyard, we can live together and we can coexist. I just wanted to put up one last picture of Mama Mo hanging out with her kill in the juniper. That's all you'll ever see of a mountain lion. And I think that's all I have, Jim, if you wanted to open it up to questions.
Brad, yeah, we got it opening up. And Shauna and Garrett, if you've got a chance to unmute, and can you update us? Do we have any questions in the question box?
No questions in the question box, just folks that were concerned about the cat you mentioned, Brad, recently here in town, and hoping that we can help to educate our community better. So thank you for all the hard work that you guys did on that.
It was my pleasure, and it was a group effort. You were involved, in Garrett and Brad Berlin, and many people worked hard to try to do that. And that's why we're doing this program today. So thank you, everyone, for your concern and compassion.
I don't see anything else coming in. Garrett, did you see anything else?
No, not at the moment. Thank you, Brad.
I got a question here, Brad. So
Sure.
The filming dates were 2014 through 2017?
That's correct.
And after it aired, do you know the name of it? Would it be possible for us to somehow get our hands on? I never saw it and would love to see it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought I mentioned that. It's called The Mountain Lion and Me, and it's on Smithsonian Channel. Is where it was originally aired. I think now you might be able to get it on Amazon Prime or possibly Netflix.
And Jim, I have one more question coming in. I got a couple questions coming in, actually. One here. Brad, other than, being able to use that incredible technology that you showed at the beginning of your talk, what are you doing to keep yourself safe while in cougar country? And, fortunately, we know these incidents are rare, but what extra precautions do you take?
That's a great question. I'm usually out with either myself or one other person. You try not to create too much traffic out there if you actually want to film them. So I take things very, very slowly with cats. I don't run down tracks when I find them. I work methodically. I watch, I listen, I look, I pay attention to the birds a ton. The birds will tell you if there's a cat in the area, if there's a kill in the area. So it's really about being very present and in the moment and where you're at. It's not a time to daydream or dawdle when you're actually tracking a lion. And I try not to put myself in situations where it's a tight pinch, or if there's a carcass and I want to set up on it, I typically call someone else and have them help me, because while I'm fumbling around with cameras, I've got my back turned, which is the worst thing you can do in cat country. So I need someone else to watch for me, but it's just been experience and taking things really slow, and don't go playing around with their food too much.
Awesome, thank you. I'm checking the thread again here. And Jim, do we have time for one more?
Sure do.
Okay. Jim, do you have any up-to-date statistics on mountain lion caused human fatalities since, these records have been being kept, at least for this area?
Mountain lion caused fatalities in this area, nothing comes to mind at all.
Yeah.
I'll go into it a little bit more in a later presentation this afternoon, but there's only around 100 attacks period since 1870, and I'll explain where that data came from in one of the later presentations, and very few deaths overall. I have not of late kept up on actual number of fatalities.
Yeah, can I chime in for a sec there?
Yeah, go ahead, Brad.
Sorry, and it's something I wanted to touch on earlier. I made a note and I forgot. Like Dr. Halfpenny was saying, it's rare and it's very uncommon. And the very, very few times that it does happen, then people tend to judge a whole species based on one individual's behavior. And that would be like someone else coming in that's foreign to humans and judging our species based on a Jeff Dahmer or a Ted Bundy. You take a bad seed and then judge a whole species over, and that's not fair, whether it's grizzly bears or mountain lions or wolves, to judge that whole species based on one individual's behavior.
And Jim, the person that asked the question about the statistics was referring to if you had any statistics on just North America in general.
Yes, for North America, the number of attacks is up around 100. And the last time I checked tried to tally them, deaths it's between 20 and 30, I think, since 1870. We had, starting in 1890, Field and Stream magazine kept track of all attacks that they could get record of all animals. So we had an excellent record going back to 1890, not so good on back to 1870. But Paul Byers analyzed those in great detail. And the figure of around 100 in between 20 and 30 is good for all of North America, including Canada.
Thank you.
Well, if there's no more questions, we'll give you a little bit of a long break. Next up, I'm going to talk about cougar proofing. And a couple of the questions indicate people are interested in knowing what you do to cougar proof yourself, your children, your pets, your yard, your community, your livestock. And so that's what we'll start in on at 2 o'clock. In the meantime, take a break, folks, and we'll see you back here at 2 o'clock.
Thank you, everyone.
And thank you,
Thank you.
Brad.
My pleasure.